putting up a timer. Okay, let me start. Hello guys, this is Shakhar. I'm presenting today's City Scooter Share today. So overview of this company is this is a company which actually provides scooter rentals to local residents in 10 cities. It is being set up in multiple countries and they have 20 scooters per depot. So their pain areas is right now is they want to centralize this particular rider and dealer management activities and the repair and maintenance processes. So we would like to go over the process, how do we can handle this pain areas and everything. So my org strategy would be considering the unified business process. I don't see any convoluted business process for unified business process and don't know data compliance requirement. I'm considering this is a single org. Since it's in multiple countries, I would be considering this multi-language as a translate, and multi-language would be enabled in translation workbench and custom labels and VF email templates. Multi-currency because I will be showing up one reservation object which will be storing a currency field. So multi-currency for that particular purpose. Mobile strategy would be mobile publisher app for riders and service manager. I'm considering 2 mobile publisher apps, for one for rider and one for service manager. And Salesforce one mobile app for internal users. My LDB strategy is for one of the object which is called message tracking object. I would be considering whatever data has been there in Salesforce. I would use skinny tables. I will enable the skinny table with the help of support ticket, and with the help of support ticket, I will enable the custom indexes as well. And whatever data has not been required, I will also archive it to enterprise data warehouse. My system landscape with Salesforce being in the middle, I would be using first of all Salesforce one mobile app, which will be connected with Salesforce via OAuth 2. User agent OAuth 2.0 flow for authorization and SAML based 2.0 for authentications. For mobile publisher app, I would be also connecting user agent flow layered with OIDC flow. Then Salesforce would be connected with ESBs and ETL. ESBs would be connected by JWT bearer OAuth 2.0 flow with MTLS supported. I will be having scooters which will be sending out the signals to Salesforce via ESB. And then there will be a driver validations as well. There's a requirement in this scenario where we would like to validate the driving license number, whether it's been right or wrong. So considering that there are multiple countries being associated, there will be multiple APIs which will be validating driving license. So I would be having a one more driving license validation via ESB. There will be a depots who will be also sending out the data to ESB to Salesforce, and ESB can also send out the data to finance application as well. I will be decommissioning 2 apps, scooter tracking systems, considering there's a performance degradation. I would be migrating all the data from scooter tracking systems to enterprise data warehouse via migration 0.2. And I will be also decommissioning rider and rental rider application management system, which will be migrating via to Salesforce, data will be migrating to Salesforce via migration 0. I will be using finance application as is to have the finance details and sending out any finance information. I'm proposing an enterprise data warehouse to send out all the tracking devices, all the tracking information for related to scooters, either from the existing scooter tracking systems and from Salesforce as well. So there's a one-word migration, which is the initial one-time migration, and then ETL would be daily or weekly would be also migrating the data from Salesforce to enterprise data warehouse. My entity store would be LDAP, considering in this scenario it was already been mentioned. And Okta, I'm proposing it for as an IDP such that user provisioning and deprovisioning requirements can be satisfied. My object model would be so I have a one account. Most of the objects I have a one account which will be private. So account will be having either service managers, service repair managers, or the riders. So riders account would be owned by support representatives, and service manager account would be owned by regional associate managers. Then I would be having a contact which will be automatically being created for riders in terms of if you have any information related to contact. Then I will be having a scooter depot which will be for for which will be a scooter depot, and scooter depot will have all the scooters information. Then there will be reservation object as well, which will be storing the information between a customer, a rider, and a scooter. I will be having a tracking message object as well, which will be master data relationship. I've just put up the master data relationship such that sharing would be controlled by regional maintenance associates, and if there's a scooter is getting deleted, I don't want to keep the message tracking device into Salesforce. I don't have any specific requirements in terms of sharing, but considering regional maintenance associates can see the tracking messages. There will be a maintenance also will be maintenance requirement has also been there. I was considering work order as well, but there are limitations on work orders to be accessible by external users, and there's not much functionality which we have to use for maintenance as such. So I'm considering maintenance as a custom object, which will be associated with account, such that with the relationship of service manager ID, all the maintenance which are being handled by service manager, regional maintenance, service managers would be tracked under maintenance for a scooter. Coming back to my actors and licenses, I have support representative, regional maintenance associates, kiosk technicians, executive members, all are internal users. I don't see any much sales cloud or service cloud requirements over here. I'm keeping them as a Salesforce platform license. Registered riders will be customer community license users. I don't have any other requirements in terms of reportings and everything. Service manager needs a monthly report, so I'm keeping them as a CC plus user. My role hierarchy is simple: a CEO, executive team members, and executive members have a regional maintenance associates, and under regional maintenance associates will be a CSS rider supports and kiosk technicians, and external users repair service managers. My LTV calculations is, since tracking message can be have two tracking, one is normal frequency, other is non-frequency. So I had calculated the total number of scooters which are being defined as 2000 messages per day in a normal frequency is 100. So I multiplied this 2000 with 100, and I just keep it weekly in weekly number of messages, considering that a particular scooter can be reserved for maximum 1 week. And for enhanced security, I had considered there will be a 2 messages per minute. Then per day it will be 2,880 messages can happen. And then I had calculated this particular number with 2000 into this, which will be this, and then multiply by 7 is 40 million records. Coming back to my business requirements. So first of all, there were two migrations that have been coming up. One is ETL to yeah. So ETL to SF and SF to ERP. So what I'm looking for is migration one would be from rental data management system. ETL would be connecting to this particular application, fetching the data, and then pushing it to Salesforce. This will be a batch data asynchronization design pattern. OAuth 2.0 web server flow would be used by Informatica, and security layer would be TLS 1.0. Similarly, for there's a migration too, which will be done from tracking systems, which is also I'm decommissioning. The where migration 2 would be fired or done by ETL Informatica, and it will be also loaded to Enterprise Data Warehouse. My SSO are there are two SSO, there are three SSOs. One is Salesforce users, internal users can access applications seamlessly. So Okta would be provider, Okta would be entity provider for that, and Salesforce one also will be used, and SAML support would be SAML 2.0 would be there for Salesforce on mobile app to access it with the user agent authorization. And the third one is mobile publisher app. Mobile publisher app will be also being used by OIDC and SP initiated flow, and OpenID Connect would be an OAuth layered with open user agent flow. All these would be one-way SSL. Now, my first requirement is scooter riders must register the scooter share program in advance before the scooter is registered. So they would like to register by a mobile app or by using a browser. I'm considering there's a customer service post where I'm proposing a customer service portal for riders where they will be doing a self-registration. And once the self-registration has been done, I will be getting an account and contact record. Riders can enter their name, address, and phone number, the driving license, the preferred language. Since they need to enter this is first time and they would like to enter it, so I'm considering the custom login flow, which will be checking it out whether this particular object is being created or not. Yeah, whether writer contact details has been created or not. If writer contact details has been created, then custom login flow will directly get logged in. If this record has not been created, then it will ask for get this record, and this information will be stored in this object. CSS writer would like to validate the driving license number in real time. So in terms of real-time integration, I would be using Salesforce. Salesforce would be connecting with ESB, and ESB would be connecting to multiple driver validation services from different government websites. This would be used via ScreenFlow login flow itself. In the login flow, I will be calling out by external services to connect to ESB, and ESB will send out another call out to driver validation service. Riders can upload a photo of themselves for their profiles by taking a photo of themselves. So I'm using their standard functionality of mobile publisher app where they can click on the user record and upload their photos. Registered riders should be able to reserve scooter up to 1 week in advance. So considering they want to register 1 week in advance, I'm thinking, and this is one of the search functionality which is a little bit needs a custom UI. I'm considering an LWC component which will be shown on the Experience Cloud website, and in the in the website we will check the reservation date, which will be between today and today plus 7, such that they can only register for particular this duration. Considering there's a search capabilities, I'm not considering out of box. I'm not considering ScreenFlow out of box list views because they would like to have functionality of scooter depot location, date, and enter a checkout time. So I'm considering LWC can do this seamlessly to provide the information, to get the information from the user. In order to search, user will go to the LWC component. They will select the scooter depot location. Scooter depot would be in this object. This object will store all the scooter depots, and based on the scooter depots, these are scooters have been assigned. So once you select the scooter depot, I will be fetching out scooters. And in order to check out whether they are available or not, I will be doing another query and reservation object to check in the next 7 days if there's a reservation on this particular scooter or not. If the reservation already been present, I will not show that scooter on the UI. System should calculate a rental cost estimate as well, which will be done from the pricing calculation system. I would be doing a one call out as for pricing calculation system as well, which is integration 0.2. From Salesforce would be connecting to ESB, and which is a request and reply pattern, and ESB would be connecting to pricing calculation system, and pricing calculation system would be responding back the estimates for a particular reservation. This is a request and reply pattern over JWT flow between Salesforce and ESB, and mutual authentication between pricing calculation system and ESBs. TLS 1.2 mutual two-way SSL would be a security layer for this particular integration. Riders then want to review this rental cost and would like to reserve this reservation. I would be showing up a reservation button on LWC component, and once you click on the reservation button, I would be creating a reservation object at this point, which will be associated to an account and then a scooter. System should generate a QR code. I'm considering a formula field on a reservation object, which will be generating a QR code via formula field. Google APIs would be used. Google API URL would be used to generate a QR code. Now, scooter checkout and check-in process requirements. Each scooter depot is a Wi-Fi enabled and both have REST and SOAP capabilities. I'm assuming that depots can do a call out to ESBs, and whenever there's a check-in or checkout happening, if the check-in happened, then scooter depot can do a call out if a checkout happen, or scooter depot can call out to an ESB. Riders who have made an investment in advance can unlock the scooter. So they will be using a mobile they will be using the mobile publisher app. They'll be going to the reservation record, and then the reservation record there's a over the detail page there will be a QR code, and they can use a QR code on the depot and use that QR code to scan the device, and then scooter can be unlocked. I'm assuming that kiosk app can use the QR code which are being generated by Google API. Essentially, Google APIs generate the QR code based on the URL, and particular depots can handle that particular service of QR codes over here. Once the scooter is unlocked, I would like to send this information back to the reservation object such that we can understand, okay, ride is already started. So Once the check-in has been happening, depot would be calling out the details to ESB. In ESB, will be doing an SF remote call-in pattern over JWT between SF and ESB and TLS two-way SSL 1.2. Rider would also like to swipe a credit card at a scooter depot that should verify availability of fund based on the amount rental cost. I'm considering that this is a existing kiosk which has been already been there. So I'm considering that they can do a credit card check and kiosk would be able to check out the funds and everything. In case kiosk is not able to do that funding or the checking, I would be proposing a Chargent app. But I'm considering right now it's been able to, but if they're not able to, then we have to enable a Chargent app which can do a fund check on behalf of CSS. When a rider returns the scooter, they would like to log into kiosk and they're shown a rental summary and everything. So in order to see all the information, first of all, depot would like to do a call out. Depot would also like to do a call out to ESB to get the details of the reservation. Once the reservation details have been fetched out, it will go back to a depot and depot would be able to see it. And once the checkout has been done, depot would again do a call out to Salesforce and reservation object status would be riders finished. So this would be using the same integration, which is the integration 04. So no more new integration at this point, but it's just a seamless integration between Salesforce, ESBs, and depots. The final charge for the rental should be sent to finance application. I am considering that once the depot is sending out the details to ESB for final checkout, ESB would send out the Salesforce, and ESB will also send out the details to finance application as well. For the payment details. Scooter tracking updates for tracking systems. Each scooter has 2,000 scooters in CSS networks, so and 100 times a day. I did a one LDV calculation, which is 735 million per year. I'm not considering this data to be stored in Salesforce. I would be storing this data only up to the scooter has not finished. When the scooter has been finished, the scooter reservation has been finished, then I would be taking a one ETL batch job and I would be sending out this data to EDW and deleting those records from Salesforce. So this particular information would be sent to EDW and all the previous information also will be sent to EDW via migration 0.2 via ETL. Riders have the option to turn on the routing tracking during rental, which increases the frequency of this 30 seconds. I also did the LDV calculation for this piece. So if the frequency is 30 seconds, then it's a 2 per minute, then it will be 2880 per day. So it would be 40 million. I consider that for 7 days, 40 million is also very much high volume. But since out of box and master detail are the custom indexes, and over a one scooter we can see a tracking messages. So and since custom indexes are being out of box indexes are master detail, I don't see much complications on showing up the tracking message for a scooter, for a particular individual scooter. Riders have the options to turn on the routing tracking. So this has been done. So integration 6 would be there in this scenario. One is once the GPS tracking devices, once the announced frequency has been there, Salesforce scooters would be sending out the detail to ESB to Salesforce. And once the checkout has been done, then all the data would be going back to EW. So there are two integrations. One integration is to the scooter to ESB to Salesforce, which is a remote call-in. And the other integration is once checkout has been completed, then an ETL job, a daily batch job, which will be synchronizing all the data back to it in Salesforce. CSS would like to use the GPS coordinates track to possible thefts and everything. I'm considering this in Salesforce. I'm considering this can be done in Salesforce in this particular message tracking application. So message tracking device would be able to handle this messages, and once the particular scooter is not running and stationary, we will create one case. So this will be done via flow over here. Accessibility requirements, only CSS depot technician can change the scooter depot details. So in my object model, I'm considering that scooter depots would be owned by depot technicians. So only depot technicians can change the scooter depot. So since they're saying only that, so I'm keeping this in custom object. The reason being is if I put up a standard object, then using grant access, I can't change the grant access hierarchies, and all the managers above the hierarchy can change it. So for that particular requirement, I'm keeping this custom object, and I will make this custom object grant access using hierarchy equals false. Regional manager associates can also manually update. Only regional manager associates can only update the scooter that needs an appear. So I'm keeping the scooter object as private and regional manager associates as owners, and grant access using hierarchy would be false. Since it's a custom object, we can certainly do that. And even in the people in the above in the hierarchy cannot change it. For possible thefts, only CSS support representative are trained to handle the and the manager and executives should be able to be the theft. So I'm considering user's case object and case object grant access hierarchy would always be true. You cannot change it. And all the managers above the hierarchy can see that details of cases. Riders can choose to make the contact details such as phone number and email address as public or private. For this particular requirement, I am considering this as an object which is being private, and I am considering owner as a writer because they would, if it is a private, then I don't want to share this particular details with anyone in the organization. So, but if it is public, then I would be considering criteria-based sharing rule, which will be sharing the records to the roles, which is writer support representatives. Considering my role hierarchy over here, in this role hierarchy, the writer support representative can see it. Kiosk technician, repair service manager cannot see it. I don't see any requirements where kiosk technicians would like to see the writer's information. If they would like to see the kiosk technician, then I would also be creating a one more sharing rule to share with the role. Repair service manager should not be able to see the rider's driving license details. Driving license details would be stored in one of the custom fields on this particular object. I'm proposing a FLS on the profile of repair service managers. Considering they are the external user, they will be having a profile, and for the profile, we will not provide the FLS on the license, driving license. Repair service manager only see the maintenance and repair details for their own repair workshop. So I'm keeping this maintenance. I'm keeping this maintenance as and the owner would be the repair service manager over here. And once I put up the repair service managers as the external user, I would be sharing with internal users via sharing groups. Registered ID would like to use the Google or Facebook social account for their mobile devices. I'm using single sign-on one, which is Salesforce mobile publisher app, which will be seamlessly being connected. This would be done via user agent flow, and OIDC would be the authentication provider for them. So I would be creating a two entity providers here. One is the Google and Facebook, and both of them would be present in a Experience Cloud. Once for self-registration, there will be a registration handler, and that would be creating an account and contact. And once the user is being created, then third-party account links would be utilized to seamless login next time. Registered riders can use the username and password to log in. This will be a out-of-box enable username and password flow for Experience Cloud site. They can log in with the username and password. Simply, I would like to incorporate the corporate network to be automatically logged into application. Salesforce doesn't provide any by default Kerberos setup, but considering I had put up an Okta as an entity provider, Okta can certainly do a Kerberos setups, and once based on Okta, we can seamlessly log into an Salesforce. I'm considering this is a Kerberos setup. This is IDP initiated flow. And this is Okta to SF and SSO a single sign-on SAML 2.0. This will be a one-way SSL. Employees who are not on the network should be able to use the LDAP. So LDAP is an entry store at this moment, which will be connected to Okta. And since it's they will be connecting via network. They will be connecting out. They will not be connected out. They will be connected via outside the network. So I'm keeping this SP initiative flow and one-way SSL. For provisioning and deprovisioning requirements, I'm keeping Okta SCIM, Secure Cross Domain Entity Management, which will be able to provision and deprovision the users. Riders should be able to see the complete history of their rentals and rides. Um, so, since they would like to see the details of the reservations, I am considering this sharing set, which will be sharing set, which will be giving the access to all the reservation records for a rider based on user.account ID equals to reservation underscore score c dot account ID, account underscore score c. Repair shop would like to see the monthly report. For that particular perspective, I had given in actors and licenses, I had given a CC plus as a repair service manager and the role hierarchy. I put up a repair service manager as one of the external roles in the regional manager associates, considering regional manager associates are the owners for their accounts. And I also mentioned in an object model that regional manager associates would be the owners for their account. TSS would like the new application to be a generate the report that shows the history of maintenance for each scooter and payments for the finance application. Um, since finance application data I'm not storing in Salesforce, I'm directly connecting to Tableau. I'm considering a Tableau as well, which will be utilized for doing the reportings and everything. Tableau would be connected to EDW and with the finance application as well and Salesforce. I will have to give the license to Tableau users as well over here in the license. So here for whoever needs the particular access to the reports, I will be giving that Tableau access over here in the licenses. CSS would like a monthly trending report where the scooters originate and where they are dropped, considering this is a very high volume in the data and it's a very high volume. I consider CRMA as well in this requirement, but considering CRMA is on Salesforce.com platform and Tableau is a independent platform and such a high volume, I'm considering Tableau and Tableau having a very good connectors to connect with Snowflake, which is enterprise data warehouse, and can connect to Salesforce as well and connect to finance application as well. Yep, I think that's it from my side. I would just like to cover one more requirement, which is sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, yeah. Caesar would like to use the GPS coordinate to track possible thefts. Here, I would be considering that in this object model, I'm considering that if a tracking message is being changing, I will be taking a look on a scooter object that if the particular message is being changing for location, I will be having a two geolocation fields over this tracking message. One is whether it's a scooter is running or not. If the scooter is and when this particular object if it is running or not, then I would be creating a case object via record trigger flow. So that's it from my side, and we are good for question and answers.
Do you need a break or we can start?
Yeah, we can start. So I'm just putting up another timer for 30 minutes for question and answers. Okay.
Does anyone have questions to start on the overview or org strategy?
Not
Yes,
me.
I have one. Um, for the multi-currency uh, on the reservation, uh, why do we need why do we need to track a reservation by the currency by the location on the reservation object?
So I was considering that if you want to have a requirement of give me one thing, let me open the object model. So if you want to have a understanding of this particular rider has how many reservations have been done or what the total amount he has paid, so we can do that with that. But one more requirement is they would like to send out the details to once the depot has been there. They want to send out the financial details back to Salesforce as well. So for that information, I'm keeping the amount over here.
Okay. Are there any, and what will be the default currency, and are there any reporting based on currency?
No, I don't
The-
see reporting. I don't see any reporting requirement based on currency. Default currency would be USD.
I'm good with the rest. We can move on to system landscape. So,
I can start with a question here. Can you clarify which Tableau product you are recommending?
So Tableau CRM Tableau, which will be a desktop application, which will be utilized. So in a Tableau product, there are multiple products, which is one of the managed app exchange product, which will be utilized under Salesforce. I'm not considering that. They can go to Tableau and see the reports. In case I have the requirements for, in case I don't see the requirement, which is they want to see it in Salesforce. If external user want to see it in Salesforce, then I would be using the Salesforce Tableau CRM as well, which will be seamlessly connecting that Tableau CRM reports into Salesforce.
Okay. I think I'm just getting confused with the way you're naming it. So you said Tableau desktop?
So CRM Tableau for this particular thing, CRM Tableau, which will be enabled in Salesforce, but our desktop Tableau can be also used. But I think I'm keeping it CRM Tableau, which will be used inside Salesforce. Sorry, I'm just changing a little bit, but yes, CRM Tableau inside Salesforce.
Inside Salesforce.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had mentioned there was some reasoning behind why you chose this version of Tableau, something to do with volume, but I didn't quite catch what you were saying. Can you explain that a bit more?
So there are multiple ways to generate the reports in Salesforce. One is report, other is CRM, and third is Tableau CRM. Considering the volume is so high, which is 735 million, CRMA use based on SAQL, which is analytical query language, which is probably a little bit less, which will be having a little bit less performance considering the high volume. Tableau is a very highly responsive product in terms of performance of such a high volume. So that's why I'm considering CRM Tableau over here.
Okay. I can hand that off to another question.
yeah, I can ask one.
What?
No, go ahead. Anu.
Thanks. I was on mute and then I unmuted myself in between. What was the reasoning behind removing scooter tracking system?
Yeah, there's a requirement that scooter tracking system uses 3 databases and they have the performance issues. So they consist of 3 separate databases that currently store all the GPS coordinates. So there's no centralized way of finding out what all coordinates are being there. And plus they have to improve the efficiency and they want a recommendation. So that's why I'm considering instead of using 3 databases, I'm decommissioning this particular system and moving all the data back to EW. And I don't see much in terms of functionality. This is just a purely a databases, and data warehouse can certainly satisfy this requirement.
Okay, and you are sending the data in real-time transaction to Salesforce, the scooter tracking system data.
No, scooter tracking system data. This particular is decommissioned. So there's a one-time
Yeah.
migration will be done from scooter tracking system to EW. Going forward, what will be happening is scooters messages would be going to ESB to Salesforce, Salesforce will keep the messages up to 7 days or up to the date or up to the ride is completed. Once the ride is completed, I will be using this integration 7, which ETL would be connected with Salesforce. Any ride which have been finished in that day, I would be moving those messages back to EDW. And the reasoning behind this particular uh, thing is because they are getting up to 40 million if they have enhanced frequency. So I don't want to keep the data more than 7 days into Salesforce.
What is the number of messages per day?
Number of messages per day for all the scooters would be 5 million.
You see any
If
limit?
it is enhanced. If it is enhanced, for normal frequency, it is so this is minimum, this is maximum, I would say.
Okay. So
Would be
even if it is the first one is 2 million or 200K?
200K.
Okay. Do you see any challenges for integration limits or any other limit per day?
So in terms of, sorry, yeah, that's 1 second. So if there are messages out there which is having more than number of messages per day, I would be probably use, if the remote call-in have the limits feature, probably I will use PubSub API to do integration. The reason being is PubSub API has more limits. Or what I can do is I can think about OData 4.01, which is an external object to Salesforce, and we can utilize as that as well. But at this moment, I would be considering PubSub API because PubSub API can push the message back to Salesforce.
Okay, thank you. Do you, Shreyas?
Yeah, my question was around the same. Uh, so I think covered most of it, but can you quickly go once back to the here? So there is also in the scooter tracking systems location data for scooters, meaning not live coordinates, but what location the scooter belongs to. So where will that be stored going forward?
Going forward, it will be stored in Salesforce in a message tracking object, in the tracking message object going forward.
So home location, like for the scooter, you will store in a message tracking.
Yeah, tracking message object, yeah, which is a custom object.
Then if I am registering a scooter for a certain location, and it was picked up from it. So I initiate a trip, I pick it up at one location, I drop it off at another location, and then I'm booking for another reservation. How will I know where the scooter is uh, available to be booked at based on its last drop off?
So just to clarify your question, you are looking for if the one scooter got dropped off, you want that scooter to be available for the second person?
Yes. Uh, uh, where will the scooter go in the, like you have the scooter depot, which is tracking all the scooters, right? So based on the location, drop off and pick up and drop off, you will have to change that, the depot for
Right,
the
right,
scooter, right?
right, right.
How is that process happening?
So that's 1 second. Let me think about it. Submission process checkout. 1 second. Checkout. So once the scooter is getting checked out, right, ESB is calling out the Salesforce. So what
Mhm.
I will be probably doing is in a reservation, right, in a reservation object, it is having an update for the next location. So based on a scooter, I will also update the scooter lookup from depot 1 to depot 2 based on this particular checkout location, which has been penned out from depot to ESB to reservation object.
Okay. So your depot will initiate some sort of integration that will change the location.
Yeah, depot
Okay.
will send out an ESB, ESB will send out to Salesforce, and
Okay.
once the reservation is being changed to rider finish, I would be also changing the scooter depot location, scooter depot lookup.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
I have a follow up on that, I think. So is the exact scooter, is it reserved at the time that the reservation is made?
Yes.
So say I am going to location A in 3 days to rent scooter number 123, but someone else has scooter number 123 today, and you don't know where they're going to be bringing it back, right? They could bring it back to a different location. How do you handle that? Like, how do you know that that scooter is going to be available at the location that I reserved it at?
Yeah, so here what I'm thinking about, what I had proposed the solution over here is in order to check whether scooter is present on location or not, considering the requirement is clear that we have to reserve only up to 1 week in advance. I would be assuming that whatever the scooters are being there present in this location for next 7 days, and there's no reservation being present, because I would not know which scooter has been coming to this location in coming 7 days. I cannot find out. So whenever this person is coming in on the UI, I would be looking into it that okay, how many scooters are being present on this particular depot, and out of those scooters, is there any scooter which has already been reserved for next 7 days? If they're reserved for next 7 days, I'm not gonna show that scooter over there. But I can't show up the scooters which are been coming up in next 7 days because I don't know that information at this moment.
So if I reserve a scooter for 7 days from now, no one else can reserve that scooter between now and 7 days from now.
Yes, that's true. Yes, they cannot reserve it because it's been reserved. Yeah.
Do you think that's a viable business model, and would that potentially cause them to lose money?
So in case if the requirement is like they would like to know at the time, let's say example, the requirement is like, okay, you have to make it available all the time for all those scooters, then I would be not putting up this condition. I would be showing up all those scooters which have been available. But unless and until I give, so let's say example, if you really want to see whether scooter needs to be coming to this particular location or not, at the time of check-in, I need to have a UI where particular person should say, okay, I'm taking up the scooter from this location to that location. If that, then we have to provide that kind of functionality. And based on that functionality, if you're putting up a scooter, let's say example, you're reserving, right? And on the reservation, you are selecting, okay, that this scooter would be picked up from one scooter depot and this scooter would be dropped off on another scooter depot. Then I have to create a one more lookup over here, and based on that I can find out. But then user has to type in, a user has to say, okay, I'm reserving this scooter from this date to this date. I will be picking up from this scooter depot and dropping up to this scooter depot. Then my object model would be creating a one more lookup from here to here, which will define this reservation. Okay, the scooter is being picked up from the scooter depot and it will be dropped off on the scooter depot, and then I have to do a custom logic to check whether scooter is being coming up or not.
Okay. So are you changing your solution?
No, requirements are not like that. If the fine, then yes, I would change the solution. But I don't see this as a kind of requirement in this, where the I had assumed it. They don't have to select the checkout depot, but if there's a requirement comes out checkout depot, then yes, I will change the little bit design over here.
Okay.
Let's go to object model, which we are already in. Um, Maintenance object. So you are using a custom maintenance object. How you will manage SLA and other trackings?
So there's no SLA or tracking requirements. So only the maintenance requirement in this scenario is this one, CSS repairs and everything. But let's say example, if they want to maintain the SLAs and everything in maintenance objects, then I would be creating a, since maintenance is being done by external users, which are partners to CSS, I would be creating a SLA on this custom object, which will be totally a custom object, which will be a total. I would create a one. I would create a one. I have to define SLA and the entitlements and everything in order to handle those kind of requirements. I would need more details on what kind of SLAs and what kind of entitlements they have.
And what is the sorry? What is the license I missed for this user maintenance associate?
For maintenance associate is platform license.
Okay, so you are giving a platform license to an external user.
No, maintenance associates are
Or their
internal
internal
users. Repair service
Thank you.
managers are external users.
Okay, thank you.
While we're on the topic of the maintenance object, you had mentioned that you had considered work order, but there were some limits that caused you not to use work order. Can you explain what those limits are?
So for work order, I think work order line items and it very much seamlessly work on field service lighting when they're internal users. So work order is very useful and its capabilities is very useful in Service Cloud, and when you're having you know all the functionalities of assignments and maintenance trackings and subscriptions and everything. So at that time, work orders been very much sufficient. But considering there's no requirement like that, that's why I'd not considered work order. If there are requirements comes out, then I would be thinking about internal users can handle the work orders internally and do the FSLs. But I don't see much requirements in that.
So maybe I might have heard you wrong. I thought you specifically said that there were limits around licensing, and that's why you didn't use it.
No, I'm saying that work order functionality, out of box functionality is way vast comparison to the requirements in this particular scenario. So that's why I don't want to use the work order and work order line items and all the other stuff. But if in case there are other requirements which are being tied to maintenance, then I would be able to consider them for internal users only, not for external users. But at this moment, if you see, right, repair service manager should see the maintenance, because external users are doing the maintenance and repairs. That's why I put up this custom object.
So how do you assign a custom maintenance record to the external repair shop?
So I'm keeping those guys only as an owner, and the service share groups will give an access to the internal user called regional maintenance associates. So let's say example, there's a maintenance being required on a scooter. What will happen is regional maintenance associate will create a maintenance record on a particular scooter, and they will assign it to repair service managers as an owner, which will be because they should only see the maintenance and repair details for their own repair shop, and sharing groups will give an access to regional maintenance associate, which are the internal users.
So if a single scooter is ready to go in for maintenance and it has a light out and it needs a paint job and it has a leak, how is that data communicated on the maintenance record?
Then I would like to have a maintenance line items into it. We can define it that all the three items are being there, like light out and paints and everything. Then I would be creating a one more child object called maintenance line items, which will be defining it. And then based on that, they will do each maintenance and then they will finish out the maintenance.
And you still think that the custom objects would be better than work order and work order line items?
Mm. Work order line items can work only for internal user, but for external user, it's not making sense because would not have the access, and we have to, internal users, can it make sense? Work order work line item, or external users, it doesn't make sense.
Which license would not have access?
Sorry?
Did you say there's an external user who would not have access? Can you specify which license type?
No, external users can have work order licenses, work order access as well. But I'm just considering that for external users, work order and then assignments and everything would not be probably not be right fit. I think I need to think about it. Let me think about this work order thing again.
Okay, we can move on.
For the scooter, why did you choose? Why did you go with a custom object?
The reason being is because there was a requirement that scooters, there was a requirement on sharing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this requirement where you're saying that the superiors shouldn't get access to it.
exactly. Only CSA regional manager associates can manually update the availability of scooters that need repairs, and nobody else can do it. So I'm considering the regional manager associates managers can also not do it. So for that, if you don't want to give an access to their superiors or managers in up in hierarchy, you would like to have a custom object and grant access using hierarchy equals false, which can't be done for out-of-box objects.
Are there any reporting requirements around scooter? Like if they want to check where the location of a scooter is or what other
Yeah,
trips taken by the scooter. So
there's a requirement like that. I'm considering Tableau CRM would be using that because it is possible that they want to have a monthly trending report where scooter originates and where they dropped off and everything. It's a very generic report, not at the time when the scooter is being in the transit, but over a general report. So for that perspective, all the data would be in EW. Considering I'm proposing Snowflake as EW, and then Tableau can connect with EW and get all the details and report all the scooters details and everything, all tracking information.
with it. And then same reason for scooter depot. What was the specific requirement that managers shouldn't be able to do for scooter depot?
Exactly, same requirement. Yeah, very much similar for scooter depot as well. That scooter depot technicians can only change the scooter depot details.
Okay.
Yeah, I have question on business requirements. The first one where writer record is doing the sign up, where writer is doing sign up.
Mhm.
So there was a there's a requirement which says they should enter their details and in their preferred language, and you have mentioned that um, the language. So how this will
So, so first of all, they would like to. I'm considering a custom login flow, which will be only being initiated once if this object is not being created. Now, coming back to their preferred language, writers would like to. So, this is the preferred language they want to select. So, let's say, example, they select preferred language called English, Spanish, or whatever it is. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this preferred language and everything being stored in this, and then I'm gonna sync up this preferred language to a user object as well, because multi-language requirements works based on the user record language parameter. So this information would be stored first in this, then via record-based trigger flow, I'm going to update their user record as well uh, in the language picker, which will be able to support the multi-language functionality.
okay? And did you consider that suppose if I'm a French language speaker and I don't understand English, and if I'm on the community website, how I will proceed with the website if I'm not able to understand the language?
So if you're talking about a custom login flow and you're looking for these particular name, address, phone number, and driver license number, then I think
The
what,
sign up process.
sorry,
The sign up process, I mean. So
sign up
I'm
process.
signing up first time and I don't understand English.
Yeah. So for that, what we can do is in a custom login flow, we will be showing up their preferred language first, which will be a drop down. They can select the preferred language, and in a flow, what we can use the custom labels to have their screen flow, login flow. We can use the custom labels to provide the labels on screen flow. If If not, then probably I will be creating multiple screen elements based on the language.
Okay, login flow will work when I'm already signed up, but how you will handle in the sign up process?
So sign up would be done via Google, Facebook, or username password. So for Google and Facebook, I think Google and Facebook authentication provider can handle that. And once they logged in into, then they will directly launch the custom login flow. For username password, the login screen, I think over there we need to create custom login screen can have the builder pages, and over the builder pages we can also put up a one language picker, and within language picker we can show the labels of username and password and then login button.
Okay. Last question on this part is you have mentioned this is an out of box functionality, the self registration, and at the end of this, you mentioned that you are going to create a registration handler. How they will fit together?
No, I was just saying this. So yeah, I would take out this out of box, but basically I was saying like this is custom, so take it out. This was just a copy paste here.
Yeah, thank you. I will wait for my next turn.
Do you want to scroll down, I think, just to the next section? Unless, are there more questions in that section?
No, I'm good.
So in your next section, you talked about using a Lightning Web component, and your reasoning for the Lightning Web component rather than ScreenFlow was related to the search capabilities. Can you just step me through exactly what are the riders searching for, and what specifically would the ScreenFlow not be able to handle?
So riders would need the screen depot location, date, and enter checkout time. They would like to show the scooters. I'm thinking about like they would so on a screen flow, right? There will be a list view where they have to select the particular scooter and then do the stuff. So list views and everything ScreenFlow cannot handle. So for that particular functionality, let's say example, I'm thinking about LWC where there will be a
Well,
there
sorry, I don't understand what the ScreenFlow can't handle.
oh, the selection of the scooters. If we have multiple scooters comes out, then selection of the scooters. I don't think so. ScreenFlow can handle.
So like displaying a list of records and allowing the user to select one of those records.
Plus, if there's a requirement for showing up the images or showing up something, that ScreenFlow cannot handle for sure.
Which images?
Any kind of images, if you want to show any kind of custom UI, if you want to show, because this is a customer facing UI and showing up those list views. I technically the list, I don't think so list can be accessible in a ScreenFlow and then selecting the list and then creating a record. I had not seen that kind of functionality in ScreenFlow.
Okay. I just really, are we already at time?
That's fine. We can ask more questions.
Okay. Okay. I can hand it off to someone else.
I have a question on this one.
1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
So you are showing data or details based on scooter depot, and someone else has registered the scooter or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So how this sharing will work with the CC user?
So I'm considering that scooter depot. That's why I'm look up the scooter depot with an account, such that scooter depots can be accessed by accounts, right? Hold on 1 second.
This is about riders. So how
Yeah.
rider will access scooter depot and reservation of someone else?
1 second. Give me a one thought about it. So yeah, so I'm keeping this in LWC, right? I would be doing without sharing. I would not be creating a sharing. So this is LWC component. I would be running Apex controller in without sharing mode, so that they can see everything.
Do you see any security risk in that?
Without sharing, considering there's an Apex method would be only giving you the details what you need. So, and I want to show all the scooter depots and all the scooters. So a developer would be able to certainly handle all these things. And this is a very much controlled UI. So any kind of management in terms of security in terms of data can be managed with the help of query. And for query injection, I think we will be keeping the dynamic fields, which cannot be, which like you cannot pick up what do you call it, a dummy data. We cannot send out a dummy data to controllers.
Okay. I was just reading my notes, and one thing I missed in object model is rider contact detail. Why we need that object?
So rider contact detail is required because there's a requirement for making this details private to only rider. So riders can choose to make their contact details such as phone number, email address, public or private. So if they make it private, then nobody can see it. So for that particular requirement, if you give it to any other object which are owned by someone else, then everyone can see it. So for that particular requirement, I created a one custom object, and this particular object would be owned by riders. So when this particular record is being owned by riders, only they can see it. Nobody else can see in this organization. And if they make it public, then I'm selecting the criteria based sharing rule on this object, which will making it sharing it to rider support representatives, which are the owners for the account.
Okay. And contact detail of a person is already available on the contact records, like phone number, email, and address, right? Because a user is signing up or user is logging up with these details, at least with the email. So how you will handle that part to be private, not accessible by anyone else?
If there's an email address being coming up, one second, let me think. Do we need an email address to be stored? No, I don't think so. We need an email address on contact account. We can put the email address and phone number on rider contact details. In terms of authentications and everything, they will be authenticating via third-party links and everything. Now coming back to a user record, the user record has an email address. That email address is a challenge because user record needs an email address field. That we cannot do anything. For a user record on an email address, then that would be visible. And I don't think so. We can take out user email address as private. But on account and contact, we can certainly do that. But from a user record, if email address is there, then we cannot
Okay.
make that private.
On account and contact, if we can do that, then why we need an additional custom object?
No, on account and contact, we will not put these details. I don't want to put the phone number and add email address on account and contact, because if I put up on these objects and owned by somebody else, then they would be able to see it, right? Or what you can do is, if there are fields, you can use via FLS as well. But then field level security would be a problem from public to private and all those things. So that would be a challenge. So that's why I keep it an object. So I think, yeah, so for this particular phone number and address, it would be stored in this particular object. And if it is private, then only this particular rider can see it. Nobody else can see it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Are there any standard objects that you can think of that are intended for storing things like email address and phone number, not on the contact?
Email address and phone number.
And it would be related to like collecting consent.
Consent management. At this moment, it's not coming into my head, but I will take a look on it.
Okay.
So in the check-in process, there's a requirement for validating funds. In that, can you explain the integration? The deeper validating the funds?
Yeah. So, yeah. So I had assumed that this kiosk or depot's already been there, and they have this functionality already been in place. So whenever you do a payment via any payment gateway will go to the network, either Amex or Visa or Discover, and those network providers can find out whether there is a sufficient amount or not. So I'm assuming that chaos can do it, but let's assume that if chaos cannot do it, then I would propose Chargent app. Chargent app is can give us an APIs which can be
So,
called.
let's say the kiosk does it. But what happens after the kiosk does the funds validation? How do you uh, allow the rider to check out the scooter? If the depot validates the funds, how will it unlock the scooter and then start the reservation?
So once the funds are available, the scooter would be unlocked, and that is a depot functionality because there will be a trigger something, that on a depot there will be iPad kind of thing device which will give electric signal to a scooter to open it. Once a
Mhm.
scooter get opens, then automatically there will be a call out being sent out from depot to ESB to Salesforce that scooter ride is started, and that object would be reservation object where reservation status would be updated to ride started.
Okay, cool. I have one question in the SSO. If we, if no questions on other parts of the requirements from other people.
Yeah, correct.
So you mentioned there is so registered riders have two ways of logging in. One is OIDC, and then the other one is username and password, email and password. Sorry. So can you explain a little bit how you will configure the email and password? How will you allow them to log in using email and password?
So in Salesforce, if you go to digital Experience Cloud website in the login settings, by default, there's a setting called login with username and password. If you want to add up more authentication, then you have to create the entity providers, and those entity providers you have to assign it, and then those will be there on the Experience Cloud site. For those authentication entity providers which I'm creating, like Facebook or Google, will be use OIDC. For username and password, Salesforce would be an IDP for them because for Google and Facebook, Google and Facebook's are IDP and Salesforce is a service provider. If they select username password, then Salesforce would be an entity provider, and you don't have to go anywhere to do authentication because Salesforce can do the
And how
authentication.
they register?
Sorry.
If they don't want to use their uh, social identity for uh, registering, how will they register with their email?
You want to sign up process?
Yeah, for riders.
Yeah. So for sign up process, I think there will be a sign up builder page. I don't remember the exact name for it, but there's a sign up builder page. It will be called once you click on create as a new user. Are you a new user? So basically, this is how it happens. So if you select three checkboxes on a digital website, right? When you go to a mobile publisher or a desktop app with that my domain URL, then there'll be a there will be a username password and there will be a two links below Facebook login via Google. So if you want to get a new user or sign up, you click on a button called sign up, and then that will open the sign up screen. And the sign up screen, you would be creating that details of a user, which will be a user record. You don't need any registration handlers or anything. Um, yeah, and then automatically account and contact.
Actually, I misread the requirement. It says registered riders can create a username and password to log in. So you don't need they are being registered using social only.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But then can you talk through how they can create a username and password?
Sign up process, right? Yeah, sign up process. Under
No, they are already registered. So they have a user, uh, but they need to create a like you need, they have a username also. So you just need to create a password for them. So how will they do it?
I think password creation is a reset password kind of thing, right? You can just go and click on reset password and then. But one more thing which I would like to call it out. The registered riders are probably on the previous application. If I have to migrate them to Salesforce, these users, then yeah, I need to think about one more migration. Yeah, under migration one, right? I would be creating a user account and contact, and passwords they have to regenerate again. Password they cannot save it, so they have to regenerate the password.
Okay.
Probably I will take a look a little bit more on this.
Mhm.
How existing users migrate. Okay.
Then sorry, I had one question about the theft alerts, right? Uh,
Mhm.
so I know the raw information is being tracked in the message tracking object on the ERD. But
Mhm.
how are we, where are we tracking the alert? Like where that theft might be in the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So understanding a case thing, right? So let's take an example. There are tracking messages that have been coming in. Let's take example. There are 3 tracking messages came in, and in this scooter device. So first of all, in the tracking messages, there will be a 2 messages would be coming in. One is current location of a scooter, and second is the scooter is on or scooter is running, like the mileage is increasing or not, right?
Mhm.
So there will be 2 parameters. One is mileage, and second is current location. Now, in a scooter object, what I would be doing is like I would be updating. I would be putting up a one custom logic over here that that if the tracking messages location is changing and mileage is not changing, then there will be a flag over here on a scooter object. And if the flag is true on that scooter object, then case would be created. Now to update those 2 flags, I think message tracking, I think I would be using ESB only to orchestrate because message tracking, all the records have been created, right? So I would be using ESB to update those flags only because ESB can store some temporary data and can store for last 5 minutes, and then ESB can update those fields on a scooter object.
Okay.
Can platform licenses access case?
Yes. They can access case, but not all the functionalities like case commands and other objects, but they can certainly see the case object and they can edit and update.
Do we want to keep? How long do we want to keep going with questions? I know we've been over.
I think we can.
Can wrap up.
Yeah, we can give the feedback if you want. Well, by the way, I think platform events can support case, right? I remember.
I don't think they can. I just tested it. I don't think platform licenses can see case, but
Yeah,
prove me wrong.
I just took my note. Yeah, they can. I think account contact cases activities they can access.
In the documentation, it doesn't list case.
Oh, is it?
And I just logged in as a platform license user and I cannot see case, but I can double check if I need to assign permissions or something. I can actually check on this real quick if the other two judges want to give feedback first.
That's fine. That's fine.
Sure, it can go. Yeah, the flow and everything was very good. There were some tricky situations in the reservation process and all that probably even like I was also trying the solution. How would I solution it? Because if you do the reservation based on a scooter, uh, then the model doesn't work. It has to be based on capacity to a location, and then the location should keep track of how many scooters it needs to keep track of its reservations it needs to fill rather than doing it directly on the scooter. So
Okay.
because all scooters are same, doesn't matter what scooter you get. So mm, that that portion would probably need some rethinking. Um, and yeah, like the data model wise, for scooter depot and scooter, it makes sense because of that sharing requirement. But I don't like you can read it as that, but you can also read it saying that the supervisors that is not guaranteeing that the supervisors do not need access. So
Sorry, come again. What is that?
so for your data model, you went with scooter depot and scooter because you didn't want to grant access using hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that requirement was specified. Unless it's explicitly specified, I don't think you need to solve for it. So I would have not complicated the data model based on that assumption.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, and yeah, like a asset is probably a good standard object for scooter. Because it doesn't it's not a large volume anyway, but doesn't go against data storage allocation. And it works well with and if you would have gone with the work order line item, asset works well with that as well. And you can use some say, scheduler objects like resource absence, operating time slot to make the uh, like the reservation process simpler. So,
Okay.
yep. Rest of it, the integration wise, the system landscape was very like detailed, and the level of detail there was really good. And talking through your integrations, you explain them well. But yeah, just the data model, I think you can invest a bit more on standard functionality, investigate it a bit more, and then only go to custom if required.
I'm happy to go next. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that Shreya said. Really great on time and really good detail on the integration explanation. And I liked how you outlined your migration details, just like you did the integrations. This might just be my personal preference, but labeling the diagram with like INT number 1, INT number 2, without having the like a table next to it makes it kind of hard to judge because you have to keep referencing back and forth between the two documents, right? So I can't see by looking at this what's going on. But I don't know if that's like just my preference or not, so you can take that for what it is. When we talked about the fact that scooters would be stuck in a reservation for 7 days and kind of said like, is that really a good business model? Would they lose money? I definitely would have changed my solution there, right? That was kind of like guidance, like this is probably a really bad recommendation because you're preventing additional rentals. When we talked about the work order objects and the maintenance object, I think I do agree. Like you definitely could have utilized standard objects a lot more, but more importantly is just like having really concrete and clear reasoning behind why you went custom. And I was feeling like a little bit confused about your reasoning. And then the last thing that I jotted down here was the Tableau discussion. So Tableau CRM is the old name for CRMA. They are one and the same.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Rebrand.
I was really confused about what you were recommending. So if you want, Tableau inside of Salesforce, that's CRMA. If you want Tableau that can integrate with Salesforce, right? You can recommend Tableau Desktop, Tableau Cloud, or Tableau Server.
But what is CRMA? That analytics, that SAQL, what is that?
The CRMA. The name before, I think it was WCRM when they acquired WCRM.
This is SAQL, right?
Yeah.
And Tableau CRM is like showing up the Tableau inside Salesforce, right?
So no, CRMA runs on the Tableau platform. CRMA, to my knowledge, has just as much power as regular Tableau does. So your discussion about like volume and things was also confusing, and I'm not sure that it's accurate. Like CRMA can handle just as much volume as regular Tableau, I think.
Are you sure? Because probably I can take a look, but I remember CRMA, so SAQL used by CRMA, and that was launched long back, and Salesforce acquired Tableau. So Tableau CRMA was 2015 being launched with SAQL.
CRMA did not exist until Tableau was acquired.
Einstein Analytics was the name that.
Einstein Analytics, yeah, right? That's true. Yeah, Einstein Analytics, correct.
Yeah.
Einstein Analytics was renamed to.
Yeah, it has 4 names like Wave Analytics, Einstein Analytics, then Tableau CRM, now CRM Analytics. Current version is CRM Analytics.
So
Yeah.
if I want to show Tableau inside Salesforce, will that be CRM or will that be Tableau CRM?
Tableau CRM doesn't exist anymore, or that's an old name.
Interesting. Then what is it? CRM?
It's CRMA.
Oh, what Tableau again?
But then if you want just Tableau, for whatever reason,
There-
maybe
there
you don't
are
need your
valid
users to log into Salesforce.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have Salesforce licenses, but they need reporting off of Salesforce data. You could recommend Tableau Desktop, Tableau Cloud, Tableau Server.
Okay, Tableau.
You could probably just say Tableau. You probably don't have to specify, but
Okay. Let me just research on it. I think I remember it, but okay, let us research on this products. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, thanks, Jillian. I think you guys has covered most of it or all of it. But yeah, it was a good presentation, and then you have, you know, object model and system landscape as a better um, representational thing. And apart from that, um, just areas of improvement or something which didn't went well for me at least was Salesforce One. Salesforce One, I think I may be wrong, but now it is called just as Salesforce mobile app, not Salesforce One. But yeah, have a check.
Okay.
And apart from that, removing that scooter tracking system, I will wait for others if they have any other feedback around that. Sorry, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Um, I think if you remove that particular, uh, if you can keep it, that would be better. You will get less question around it because of there was less um, there was not much requirement to remove it. It just says optimize, so you can think about some other optimization way. uh, and keeping the tracking object in Salesforce was like a big, because it was because of that you were getting LTV and all of those things. So yeah. And apart from that, general what everyone mentioned is um, use standard object if that is going to be sufficient for your requirement in general. But yeah, you might have considered about that if this standard object is not an overkill. But yeah, um, and apart from that, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but on the sharing requirement, when you said without sharing model might be mm, not the optimal solution, because you are removing sharing, um, you know, all the sharing rules and all the sharing mechanism. So that may be, yeah, incorrect, but yeah, that's my understanding. And
So
apart
without
without sharing, you mentioned without sharing, for sharing the scooter depot and reservation details for the other ones. So without sharing
For
is not a best practice.
your search feature for uh, riders to search for scooters, LWC and Apex without sharing.
so then probably have to make it read only then. I have to make these read only.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
if you're reserving a scooter, then you have to make the external read only.
Yeah. Are you guys there? Okay. Oh
Yeah.
nice.
and apart from that, um, I think I haven't written down archiving conditions, but yeah, I think you have mentioned the archiving conditions. Another thing was rider contact detail object. So that particular object is, I thought, like n- not of use, and the requirement says um, it should be private. I think it might be private in the community, not for the internal users, because yeah, I thought that it is talking about the private part as for the experience cloud, not for the internal users. So that can be handled using experience cloud setting and then personal setup inside the experience cloud for a particular user.
Oh, you mean the user object?
um, on the experience cloud, I think if you log in as an external user, you get those settings on most of the templates,
Yeah.
that you want to keep your details private or personal. But yeah, if yeah, that will be available in experience cloud guide for the better answer. I may be incorrect in some certain way. Yeah, so rider contact detail object was kind of a thing for me. But yeah, that's me.
But yeah, like this city scooter share, it's like as straightforward as it seems, there are some tricky things here for sure. Because even I'm still confused about the reservation part, especially with the sharing requirements that are outlined. How what is the ideal solution for it? It's something we can, if we want, discuss as a group sometime if we have a study session. And, and even the custom login registration flow, like where we want to capture information as part of the login process. Uh, because if you're doing it through the auth registration handler, they are going straight to, they are being given access. So where do we capture that information?
Got it.
So
Yeah,
that
when I presented this a while back, the feedback I got for that process was like, you can make the reservation, but don't actually reserve a specific scooter until the checkout
Mm,
time, and that actually simplifies things.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
and
hadn't thought of it that way, but
yeah, and general business process works like that. Whenever you are reserving something, it will be at the checkout process.
yeah. And then it's just up to
Mhm.
whoever manages the location to kind of like look at the volume of reservations that are coming in, right, and make sure they have enough
Yeah.
scooters on hand.
so
Yeah.
help me
Makes sense.
understand, how do you think? So if the scenario comes up like that, and in that it is not clearly mentioned, how do you think in that way?
So two things I think I can think of, and one thing is all the scooters are same. So suppose if I get scooter
Mhm.
number 1 or number 5, it doesn't matter to me. So in that case, it is not needed to reserve and lock the scooter number 1 or scooter number 5. And if I lock the scooter number 5 and then I can ride the scooter to different locations, in that case scooter is now moved to somewhere, some other location, and then someone needs to specifically go and pick scooter number 1 and then get it back. But in general other way, so suppose if we are not doing in that way, in that case, if there is a load balancing issue, then they will go and pick n number of scooter, not a specific scooter. So that is the one thing which, you know there are two things. One is like reserving a particular scooter will also make the scooter locked for a particular period, and then that will lose, we will lose the money.
So
Or
if
just relate to a existing system, real world system. Like we have those bike stands in most cities where
yeah,
we take our bikes and put bikes in different locations. So there's no reservation happening to a bike.
so you would like to keep the scooters as an independent object for reservation in advance. If you're coming in at that time, then use the scooter object and then do a reservation. But if the reservation is happening in advance, don't tie that reservation to the scooter. But
When
technically,
Reservation is
before,
to a depot location, not a scooter.
but technically, if you think in this way, right? So there are two ways. There are two things. One is you're reserving in advance. Second is you had started this reservation process of check-in, check-out, and all those things. So when you're doing check-in and check-out, you need an object, certainly, which is probably you can keep it anything else. When you're talking about advanced registration, so you can keep an advanced registration of scooter depot. Okay, on this depot, we have a scooter demand for next Monday, for one or two or three. Then what the system is gonna do? How system would remain that okay, three scooters should be present without knowing the
Well,
details.
somebody would need to have access to that scooter depot in some live report saying that this scooter doesn't have the enough scooters on the depot to meet their reservations. Then some logistic fleet will need to transfer some scooters from one location to another.
Another example which I can see that is with this one is like when you book a rental car, they don't give you the car registration number, right? They say you will get this car or similar like this, not the particular. They don't say that this is
Yes.
your car number and you will get this car. You get the car number, or you get the car when you reach there.
And they pick up whatever the car you have. Yeah, exactly. That's true. So if there's no car like that, then they just do upgrade, right? Let's say example, there's no car. Then they will say, okay, there's no car, wait for some time or cancel the registration, right?
But
But
that's
they
when
will.
they would like send an employee the night before, like, oh my, we need to go get some cars from this other city.
Yeah.
know.
Right, right. So
They
reservation
can
is
see
not
the reservation.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or say if I have five of those car, and so I will just take five registration, but I will not allow those five car to each reservation. So it will be based on a random allotment at the time of checkout, or the
Yeah.
load balancing which Jillian is mentioning. That if they are getting too much, they can go and then get it from some other location.
Yeah. It's a good thought process actually. Yeah. Makes sense. I think I should give a little bit more. Are you guys free tomorrow and after tomorrow as well? Let me give one more case study now.
The
There's
other
a
thing
study
that,
session tomorrow. So,
sorry, Shreyas, go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just, there's a study session tomorrow, right? For the
Oh,
authentication. Sorry, go ahead. That's all.
No, that's okay. I was just going to comment on the QR code piece too. That's something that tripped me up a tiny bit. Like the details of it. My judge really asked me a lot of questions about how the QR code would work with the integration. So
mhm.
you may have been prepared to discuss that, but we didn't ask you any questions. So I just thought I'd call that out.
Yeah, and how would you do? How would you create a QR code using a formula field?
So what happened is in a formula field, right? There's an image thing, and you use the. So really this is how the QR code works in Google API. So let's take an example. You go to any doctor office or any office, right? You go to a camera and then you open a camera and then scan the QR code. What actually this QR code actually do is actually open the Safari browser and open a particular what do you call URL, right?
Yeah.
So QR code in Google API, how it happens is basically you Google APIs, you define your input variable. Let's say example, there's a blogger called shikhargoyal.bloggerspot.com. There's a URL, right? And you want to generate a QR code for it. So under the Google API, there's a URL. Over there, you define the value and then image. Let me show you that. It's very simple. Like, let me go to Gemini and show you that. Create
But you
Q.
already have a URL, right? Your reservation record URL.
Yeah, yeah. Using formula field. I'm just trying to show you using Google API. Show me the. Oh, it's just saying a bank thing. No, no, wrong. It's wrong because I did that already.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
QR code formula field. So what happens is you go in formula, right? The formula you select text and then you select image, right? And then you say a specific URL, right?
Mhm.
Which is like you define the website as well. And once you define everything, then this field would be visible like this. So this particular URL, right, gives an image. And that image is a one method out there, which is a formula field. So now when you go to the Q, when you scan this QR code, what will essentially gonna happen is there's a URL gonna open, whatever you're gonna define over here. Now from a chaos perspective, if you want to open any URL, the moment you scan the QR code, that piece gonna open. Make sense?
Yeah. But what is the post like? Yeah, let's say I have the URL as in the kiosk has the URL. What will the kiosk do? How will it validate that is a valid reservation? That portion.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So if the QR code needs the reservation ID, so let's say example there's a reservation being created, right? Now QR code has a reservation, then what you can do is the moment you scan it, the reservation ID will go in. Yes, I think the requirement was very similar like that. Let me just go to the QR code. QR code, yeah. Rider and unlock the scooter. So basically, system will generate a QR code and riders can use to unlock the scooter or depot. So basically, the moment you scan this QR code, technically the depot should do a call out with a registration ID. And I'm gonna pass the reservation ID over here in this website, right? And that will call out via ESB. ESB will call out, sorry, depot will call out to ESB, ESB will call out to Salesforce and give the detail at the back of the reservation. That will be shown on the depot. So as long as your
So depot will need a user
sorry, depot would need a user. You mean the authentication?
because they're accessing a URL, Salesforce URL using for your or is the QR code just a number that the
No,
ESP?
no, they will not. I'm not saying like you're gonna open the Salesforce UI on that kiosk. What you can essentially do is you can open any so kiosk. There's an app, right? In the app, you might need to open an app, iPad app. So you might need to give the iOS colon like you give the email colon and then open the email in the Mac, right? You probably have to give that app and give the ID in that app. And the app will open. There's an ID in the URL, and the ID will call that ESB call out, and ESB will return the response, and then the app will show the details. So it will not be a Salesforce URL. It will be a URL of that app.
Yeah.
Like
No, I get it. Like ESB is basically going to Salesforce and checking if it's a valid reservation and then going back to the depot.
yeah,
Yeah.
you see the open email URL. What is the append? I think yeah, mail to right like this. These are the different variables out there. But help me understand one more thing, which I was stuck on it. On this requirement of mm, yeah, possible thefts, right? So how do I know there's a possible theft? Because should I be doing a valid ESB, right? ESB should be able to update that, right? I think ESB should be able to update that field.
I had to ask the same question at the end after everybody finishes, but I think Avinash covered. Avinash has covered. I think Shreyas covered. So I think what I'm thinking is sending through a ESP is not an ideal scenario here because API limits definitely will hit it's in millions, right? Every call. Even you are saying, I think you suggested saying platform events.
Yeah.
So even the platform events also, I think if you want to create a platform event inside Salesforce, so I first of all I'm thinking it's like IoT scenario. We will not bring all those messages as is to Salesforce. So I think Jillian was suggesting to keep it in Heroku, something like that. Consolidate all the three database in one database is like Heroku. Bring all the messages or whatever the signals from the scooter to the backend. There we should build the logic. Maybe if it's not moving or something they given. So based on that logic, if there is a suspicion, then we had to create a case for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think just keep this data directly into AWS and then create a case with the ESB if the things are not moving. Because
Yeah,
ESB
the logic will be on the tracking system. That should be there. That's how I solved when I was doing.
yeah. I think directly create a case from an ESB, don't have this object at all.
Yeah, for tracking
Not,
we don't.
not in Salesforce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. Yeah. And how are you going to solve the work maintenance? So how are you going to solve this requirement of work
I
order?
think
So,
everybody is forcing you towards work order and you're creating standard custom objects. Yeah.
so help me understand what is the thought process. So only managers can update the availability of scooter that needs a repair. But technically, they just need to update the scooter, right? They need to update on the scooter, and repair would be done by the repair manager. So can a work order be accessed by external users?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So work order. Hold on,
I
experience.
think CC and CC plus can access it.
Yeah, in most of the scenarios, the external contractors will go and install the systems, and in many scenarios, that's the case. So everywhere, it's a work
Yeah,
order.
mind probably somewhere. I don't know. Here's my mind is today. I agree with you because work order I do see over here that I agree. But who had changed my mind? I don't remember. Some website somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Whenever I see some work which needs to be done by someone else physically, like a handyman job or something like that, always go with work order.
Okay, no, that I agree with you, and I don't know what was my chain of thought and why. I think I read some blog 2 or 3 days back, and somewhere that changed my thought. But so work order can be accessed by external users. Now maintenance and everything can be done by work order, and schedules can be done by work order, right? Now,
Yep.
if you give the work order access to external user, like work order, CC guys can use the work orders and line items. You don't have to change the license even, and then that will suffice this piece. But then you have to define the maintenance, how many maintenance is going to happen, and all those things, right?
If you want to, maintenance schedule.
Maintenance
Yeah.
schedule and everything, yeah. So I think I don't know. I think some blog has changed. And one more thing which was there, which Jillian has pointed out. Yeah, consent management, email address and phone number. What is that?
Individual.
Yeah, you can use the individual object and then you get like contact point email, contact point phone, contact point address
But,
objects.
but those are data cloud objects, right?
They're standard objects.
I was using them in individual and data cloud. Nowadays I'm using data cloud, right? So I was
They're
using
important, I think, for data cloud, but
yeah, I'm using this in data cloud, but I think they are standard as well. Yeah.
but I
And
also
data cloud is
interpreted that requirement the same way. Was it Avinash saying it? Like I had originally interpreted it as meaning on Experience Cloud.
Sorry, what is that?
But what would be on experience? Like how, I didn't understand that part actually.
Like if they want their profiles to be public or private on the Experience Cloud.
Profile.
Oh, okay.
But I can see how you can interpret it either way.
So what do you think? How are you gonna solve that requirement for public and private?
If you know both of the requirement, if you understand requirement in both of the ways, say if you understand that this requirement can go that someone needs to do it internally, and the other one is like, I can assume that this is, we are talking about um, something should be on experience cloud only because it says public means like other people, not internal, maybe. So I can do either of the assumption. So suppose if I have to make decision which the assumption I should go with, I will go with the assumption which has less question and which is more, which I feel more confident of.
Yeah, and like use some reasoning too, right? It's very unlikely that they're going to allow someone to say you cannot have my email address or phone number accessible to any of your users, right? Because if you're a customer, they have to contact
Yeah,
you.
that's correct.
Right. Makes sense.
But I did put in a link here, Shakur. This is Hermione critiquing my presentation of City Scooter several months ago. It's definitely not perfect, but he adds some commentary. So listening to his commentary is, I thought it was really helpful.
Okay, yeah, I will take a look on this video as well. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that's a nice video. I think I will probably take a look on it. Yeah, I think that's a good point actually. So I'm not thinking very. Yeah, I think I need to think about a little bit more on it. The assumptions which I'm making, right? Probably I can make it a little bit more in a different way, but I will do a little bit more solutions and see how it goes.
Great. Sorry, I'll need to drop. I'm waiting and we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, guys, thank you for judging. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you
Thanks,
tomorrow.
everyone.
Thank you.